to Top Cheddar Tuesdays. It's NBA Tuesday. Today we will be covering the 6th, 5th, and 4th seeds from the East last year, our second to last Eastern Conference season preview video that we will have. And boy, is this going to be a good one. So we'll be covering the Brooklyn Nets, the Indiana Pacers, and the Boston Celtics, all of which had very interesting off seasons, all of which made the playoffs last year, and all of which are hoping to improve upon last year and maybe, just maybe, win the Eastern Conference. So let's get right into it. Let's start with the 6th seed from last year, the Brooklyn Nets. Boy, do we have a lot to discuss with the Brooklyn Nets. Big offseason for Nets fans. Awesome to see for this franchise, who really, to be honest, hasn't had much going since they were the New Jersey Nets with Vince Carter and Jason Kidd. So what the Nets did, let's start with their depth pieces that I also really like. They bring in Wilson Chandler and Garrett Temple, Garrett Temple, very solid defender. Wilson Chandler brings you a little bit of offense, a little bit of defense. Ultimately, both very solid bench pieces that can come in and eat some minutes for the starters without the Nets really being at a disadvantage in the game. I really like both of that. DeAndre Jordan also signs with the Nets. Not sure if he'll start over Jared Allen or not. Probably not. But the fact that DeAndre Jordan now is your backup center and taking Jared Allen's minutes when Jared Allen's not on the court is scary for other teams in the East. DeAndre Jordan, always in the conversation, one of the best defensive players in the league. Not much offensive side, but man, is this guy a block machine. And honestly, you don't need an offensive center off of the bench. You want to shut down defensive guy, and that's exactly who they got with DeAndre Jordan here. So I love that for the Nets. So those three right there alone really bolster that bench up. That's already going to be pretty solid with Karis LeVert and other pieces. They did lose Jared Dudley, which is obviously a huge loss for the Nets. Jared Dudley, one of the better players in the NBA. Obviously, I'm being sarcastic, but Jared Dudley is gone, along with D'Angelo Russell. What are the Nets going to do at point guard? Well, they signed Kyrie Irving to play point guard, obviously. So Kyrie Irving, I always said, was a rich man's D'Angelo Russell, or D'Angelo Russell, a poor man's Kyrie Irving. I think they play a very similar style. I think they're both very good, but obviously Kyrie Irving's better. So you're getting an upgrade at point guard along with those great bench pieces, and you signed Kevin Durant, who's arguably the best player in the league. I don't think so, but arguably he is. Certainly top 3. So obviously Kevin Durant's not going to be playing this year, although I wouldn't put it past him to come back towards the playoffs, because we know athletes like him can sometimes have freakish recovery times from injuries, and all of a sudden they're healthy again. So who really knows? If he does come back for the playoffs, I do have the Nets making the playoffs again. If he does come back for the playoffs, I mean, we're talking, that's scary for the East. I think the Nets would automatically become one of the top favorites to win the East, probably, along with Milwaukee and like Philadelphia and maybe these other two teams I'm about to talk about. So it's gonna be interesting in the East this year. But certainly, I like the upgrade with Kyrie Irving over D'Angelo Russell, even though D'Angelo Russell did also get a max contract, so I guess you can't really call him a poor man's Kyrie Irving, but he is. But I guess you can't call him that, but he is. But ultimately, the Nets just get a lot better from top to bottom with these moves this offseason. So I have definitely them trending up. They finished 6th in the East, right? Yes, 6th in the East last year. Yes. I have them finishing 4th in the East this year. Yes, I did my math right. I have them finishing 4th in the East this year. I do think they got better. I think they would probably finish 1st or 2nd if Durant was healthy. So next year, look out for that. But yeah, I really, really like what the Nets did. They're going to be scary. I don't have them winning the East unless Durant's there for the playoffs, and then that's a very real possibility. But assuming Durant's out, they don't have enough to win the East still, but they're going to be a very, very good team. Speaking of the Indiana Pacers, now this is a team that lost Victor Oladipo kind of at the start to middle of the year last year, and everybody just automatically gave up on them, saying they're done, whatever, and they were able to maintain their spot in the East pretty much the rest of the season, kind of shocking everybody, even without Oladipo. It just shows the depth on this team, and what they did this offseason is they just brought in even more depth. So they bring in Edmund Sumner, who's a solid defender, okay bench piece. Same with Jeremy Lamb, who they also brought in. Those are okay bench pieces, nothing super fantastic. But the two moves I do really love that the Pacers did is they bring in T.J. McConnell, and it might be a bit of a biased opinion, but they bring in T.J. McConnell to be their backup point guard, and I love that for a lot of reasons. McConnell off the bench brings ton of energy, ton of grit, ton of hustle, just can facilitate an offense as well. I mean, he's proven himself in this league, and I think he's a really good fit in Indiana. And it breaks my heart to say that. I love you, TJ. I love you. And then the biggest move that the Pacers did this offseason was they bring in Malcolm Brogdon from the Bucks, which hurts the Bucks as much as it helps the Pacers. So I do really like the fit here as well. I think Malcolm Brogdon's going to fit in very nicely alongside Victor Oladipo, who, by the way, will be healthy for the start of the season, which is also scary. So I really, really like the Indiana Pacers this year. I truly, really, really like them. I have them finishing third in the Eastern Conference, making the playoffs. I think they could go deep in the playoffs. They could win the East. I don't think they will, but they could. But this is a very, very good team, a very improved team, and yet again, a team that nobody seems to be talking about or focusing on, which only helps them out in the long run here. Lastly, let's talk about the 4 seed from last year, the Boston Celtics. So I have the Celtics as trending steady, and here's why. The Celtics lose Kyrie Irving. They replace him with Kemba Walker, which in my opinion is an upgrade for them, because you look at the way that Brad Stevens coaches his team, and the team is kind of shaped. And Kemba Walker is just a much, much better fit, in my opinion, than Kyrie Irving was. Kyrie Irving, in my opinion, again, kind of a ball hog, didn't really facilitate that Boston offense as well as he could have. Boston's built with just a bunch of solid players, not necessarily superstars or stars or anything like that, just solid players, top to bottom. So you need to be able to pass the ball around, spread the wealth a little bit, and Kyrie Irving just did not do that. But Kemba Walker will be much better at doing that. Kemba's also a much better defender than Kyrie Irving, which is another thing that Brad Stevens, I think, likes in his players. So I really, really like the Kemba Walker addition. They also brought in Enes Kanter to play center, having lost Al Horford, which is obviously a downgrade, and why I have them ultimately steady, not really trending up or down, because while they get an upgrade at point guard, they certainly got a downgrade at center. I think that they're going to have a hard time playing teams like the Nets, like the Sixers, who have a really good center and just really good play down low, because I don't think Enes Kanter can really guard a Jared Allen or a Joel Embiid or DeAndre Jordan or an Al Horford. So I think that's ultimately going to be kind of what holds the Celtics back this year. I do have them obviously making the playoffs. They are my 5 seed this year. So 4 seed last year, 5 seed this year. Yeah. Ultimately, pretty much the same teams coming back, which is good for them. And like I said, I think guys like Jaylen Brown, Jason Tatum, they're really going to benefit from having Kemba there now. And I do like that for the Celtics, but ultimately, I think the rest of the East got a lot better while they just kind of stayed stagnant. And I think that is actually really going to hurt them. So I don't know. I have them 5 seed, and that has them obviously facing the Nets in the first round. Not sure who comes out on top in that. Again, a lot of that depends on if Durant's there or not. But ultimately, the Celtics will be good again this year. I just don't think they did enough this offseason to really be a true contender in the East. I would have liked to see them do more. I really would. Just losing Al Horford especially, they really didn't address that at all. And as Cantor, not taking anything away from him, I actually do really like him as a player, just not so much as like a starter, and especially given what they had last year. So ultimately that's a downgrade. But let me know what you think about these three teams. Am I crazy to think that the Pacers might win the East? Am I crazy to think the Celtics have no shot of winning the East? Let me know in the comments. Obviously, give your thoughts on Kyrie and Kevin Durant. I know we touched on it in prior videos. Spencer and I talked about it in our free agency recap and everything. But I want to hear your thoughts on that. Let me know what you see all three of these teams kind of shaking out. And as always, let me know how wrong I am. Leave a like, leave a comment, smash that subscribe button. 2 weeks from now, I'll finish up with the Sixers, the Raptors, and the Bucks. And Spencer next week will have 6, 5, and 4 from the West last year. Tomorrow, I'll have the 2 Florida teams as we preview the Atlantic Division for the NHL. And as always, Thursday will be some NFL coverage from Victor. So we got a lot coming up for you. So thank you for watching. Stay tuned and have a good one.